In the grand hushed halls of the Boston Public Library, Elara Vance, heiress to a global empire, quietly straightened a stack of books, her modest librarian's salary a secret comfort. The crisp October air that drifted in from Copley Square felt real, a welcome change from the filtered, recycled air of boardrooms and private jets. She wore a simple turtleneck and corduroys, and her simple wool coat felt like a shield against the world she'd left behind, a world of calculating eyes and transactional relationships. She was tired of being Vance Global. She just wanted to be Elara. She saw him before he saw her, Ethan Hayes, leaning against the main desk, his architect's sketchbook tucked under his arm. He looked up and smiled, a genuine warm expression that always seemed to light the cavernous room. "Finished recommending poetry to the masses, Ms. Vance?" he teased. Elara laughed, a soft, genuine sound. "Only the classics. I doubt you even read the Keats I suggested." As she gathered her things, her phone vibrated. The screen lit up, Vance Global. She silenced it without a second glance. They walked to their favorite non-chain coffee shop in the Back Bay, a quiet locals only spot that smelled of old books and fresh espresso, the kind of place that felt comfortably nostalgic. Ethan was passionate, his hands moving as he described his latest project, a pitch for an affordable community housing complex. "It's not just about shelter, Elara," he explained. "It's about dignity." His enthusiasm was infectious, and it was exactly why she'd fallen for him. Then, his expression softened. "Speaking of, you're always listening to my dreams. But you're so quiet about your own life. Your family." Elara paused, stirring her coffee. She gave him the simple, practiced truth. "My parents passed away young. I was raised by a guardian. I don't have much family left." Ethan didn't pry. He simply covered her hand with his touch warm and empathetic. "Then you should meet mine," he said. "Come to Sunday dinner. Meet my mom, my dad, my sister. They're a lot, but I want them to meet you." A flicker of apprehension crossed her face, but she nodded. "I'd like that." As they part ways on the street, Elara's phone buzzes again. The text preview reads, "Ms. Vance, the Singapore acquisition requires your final approval." Elara just ignored a massive deal, but she cannot ignore this family dinner. She's walking into this blind, and we have a feeling this family is not what she expects. If you are still watching this video and find this story valuable, please comment with the number 9 below to let me know you were here. We love to see our community following along. And if you haven't subscribed, I highly recommend you subscribe to the Black King channel and turn on that bell so you don't miss what happens at this dinner. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. The Hayes family home in the suburbs was immaculate, polished, and utterly cold. It was the exact opposite of the cozy library Elara loved. Standing in the sterile foyer, Elara instinctively felt for the easy warmth of the coffee shop she'd shared with Ethan, but found only the immediate, critical assessment from Ethan's mother. Eleanor Hayes' smile was a mask, a polite baring of teeth that didn't reach her eyes. His father, Richard, gave a booming hello, shaking her hand too firmly, his eyes sizing her up. Sophia, the sister, barely looked up from her phone. The Sunday dinner was served in a formal dining room, the air tense despite the perfectly set table. At the table, Richard began his interrogation. "So, a librarian," he said. "Quaint. And your family?" Elara gave her simple, truthful answer. "My parents passed away young. I don't have much family left." The mood instantly chilled. Sophia smirked into her napkin. "A librarian. How noble, Ethan," Sophia said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Always bringing home a charity case." Eleanor shushed her, but the damage was done. "Sophia, manners." Eleanor then turned her inspecting gaze to Elara. "That's a simple dress, dear," she said, her tone implying the opposite of a compliment. "It's amazing what one can find at thrift stores these days, isn't it?" The implication was clear. As a black woman with no family, she must be poor. Ethan was mortified, his face flushing. "Mom." "Sophia. Stop it. That's enough." He defended Elara, but his family just exchanged knowing looks, their silent conversation confirming their shared belief. Their successful son was being fooled by a gold digger. Elara remained composed, her dignity her only shield. As they leave, Elara, putting on her coat, overhears Eleanor whisper to Richard, "You see? She's not one of us. He must end this before it gets serious." The tension of the following weeks settled into a Cold War, culminating in the family's Christmas gathering, an event Ethan begged Elara to attend, promising it would be different. Eleanor's whisper, "She's not one of us," hung in the frosty December air as they walked up the haze walkway, tinsel and expensive decorations everywhere. Elara felt visibly uncomfortable, but she maintained her composure for Ethan. She had brought thoughtful gifts, sourced with care. For Richard, she'd used her Vance global contacts to find a rare, signed first edition of a book on Boston architecture. For Eleanor, a luxurious hand-woven cashmere shawl. They were accepted with lukewarm, polite thank yous and quickly set aside. The family gathering was a sea of forced smiles and snickering cousins. Then Sophia approached, holding a small, perfectly wrapped gift. "This one's just for you, Elara," she said, her voice laced with malicious sweetness. "I thought it might be helpful." Ethan watched, wary. Elara opened it. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a book. The title in bold, gold letters read, "The Art of Marrying Up, a Guide for the Ambitious Woman." The room went silent. A cousin snickered. Richard looked away, and Eleanor just sipped her wine, her face impassive. The insult was devastatingly clear. Ethan snapped. His face was pale with rage. "What is wrong with you?" he said, his voice shaking. "We're leaving. Now." He grabbed Elara's hand and pulled her through the stunned crowd, leaving the party as she heard Sophia say, "What? It's just a joke." In the car, Elara isn't crying. She is quiet, cold, and resolved. "Ethan," she says, her voice firm, "your parents' 30th anniversary is next month. We will go to that dinner." That is the sound of a woman who is done being polite. The family has gone too far, and Elara is not breaking. She's resolving. She has a plan, and it leads directly to that anniversary dinner. If you are still watching this video and you feel this powerful story is valuable, please comment with the number 8 below to let me know you were here. And if you haven't subscribed, you truly will not want to miss what happens next. I highly recommend you subscribe to the Black King channel right now and turn on that bell so you don't miss the climax of this story. Your support helps us continue to create great content, just like this, to inform and inspire you. Now, let's continue to the dinner. Lucille, Boston's most notoriously expensive restaurant, was the chosen battlefield for the Hayes' 30th anniversary dinner, and Elara knew this was the end of the line. She was calm. Her decision to attend wasn't about forgiveness. It was about closure. Ethan, dressed in his best suit, was still hoping this grand gesture, his treat, paid for with his promotion bonus, would somehow mend things. He remained painfully naive. Elara wore a simple, but exquisitely tailored, black dress. It whispered wealth, but the Hayes family only saw simplicity. From the moment they were seated, the family lavished praise on Ethan. "Oh, Ethan, this is success," Eleanor cooed. They pointedly ignored Elara, discussing expensive vacations and club memberships. Richard loudly held court, bragging about Ethan's promotion, calling him "my boy," and emphasizing the good breeding that led to his success. The coded language was a blatant wall, designed to exclude Elara. She simply sipped her water, a quiet observer. The meal was an agonizing performance of arrogance. Finally, as the dessert plates were cleared, Richard Hayes stood up, tapping his spoon against his crystal glass. Nearby tables turned to look. He beamed at Ethan. "A toast," Richard booms, "to my son Ethan for his hard work and this incredible meal." And he turns, a smug, cruel look on his face, a special thanks to Elara for finally getting to enjoy the fruits of someone else's labor. The insult hung in the air, thick and toxic. Ethan's face went crimson. "Dad," he started to rise, his voice shaking with rage, but Elara placed a calm hand on his arm, stopping him. She would handle this. Slowly, deliberately, Elara folded her napkin and placed it on the table. She met Richard's smug gaze, her own expression unreadable. "You're right, Richard," she said, her voice clear and steady, cutting through the silence. "It is nice. Which is why I will be taking care of the check." She signaled the maitre d'. Richard Hayes let out a short, barking laugh. Don't be ridiculous, girl, you can't afford. His voice died as Elara reached into her simple purse. She bypassed her normal cards and pulled out a sleek, heavy, black metal card. It wasn't just a premium card. It was the Amex Centurion, the mythical black card. She handed it to the maitre d'. The man's professional poise shattered. His eyes widened in recognition. He had been trained to recognize it, but had never actually seen one. His entire demeanor shifted from professional respect to absolute reverence. Of course, MS. He stopped, his jaw dropping as he read the embossed name. Right away, Ms. Vance. The name echoed across the table. Vance. Sophia scoffed, confused. Elara took her phone, placed it on the table, and dialed a number on speakerphone. A crisp, professional voice answered instantly. Vance Global, David speaking. David, it's Elara, she said calmly, her voice suddenly pure, authoritative business. Did our final offer of $900 million for the Sterling Tower go through? The family froze. Forks hovered. The voice replied, Yes, Ms. Vance. The deal closed this afternoon. The blood drained from Eleanor's face. Richard's mouth hung open, his proud toast forgotten. Sophia looked horrified, her mind flashing back to the book, The Art of Marrying Up, that she had given to one of the wealthiest women in the country. They hadn't just insulted a librarian. They had insulted the owner of Vance Global. The maitre d' returned, holding the card on a silver tray, as if it were royalty. Elara hangs up, retrieves her black card, and stands. The check and a 20% tip are taken care of. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Without a backward glance, Elara Vance took Ethan's hand. He was stunned silent but instinctively stood with her, and they walked out of Lucille, leaving the Hayes family sitting in the ruins of their own prejudice. This exit was the opposite of their flight from the Christmas party. Then, they had fled in anger and humiliation. Now, Elara left in complete, quiet control. A silent valet, who had clearly been instructed, held the door to a dark Rolls-Royce. The quiet, leather and wood interior enveloped them. The ride was silent for several blocks. Ethan finally turned to her, his voice emotional, hesitant. Vance? Vance Global? Why didn't you tell me? Elara turned to him, her expression soft in the passing city lights. Because I had to know you loved me, she said softly. Just Elara. The librarian who loves poetry. Not the name. She took his hand. The only fortune I was ever chasing was your heart. He saw the truth in her eyes. The years of loneliness her wealth had cost her, and his love deepened, understanding her completely. 1 year later, the frantic, apologetic calls from the Hayes family had long gone unanswered. Elara and Ethan, now married, stood on a crisp autumn day in Boston. Elara's immense wealth was now being used to fund Ethan's dream. The Hayes Vance Community Housing Project, a beautiful, innovative, and affordable complex rising in a neighborhood that needed it. Elara still volunteering at the library, and Ethan watches a family, a black family, just like the ones the Hayeses looked down on, receives the keys to their new home. That was the real fortune. In the end, the greatest acquisition wasn't a skyscraper, but the quiet dignity of a new home. When we choose to look past the cover, past the color of someone's skin or the simplicity of their clothes, we often find the real story. True worth is not measured by the card in your wallet, but by the kindness in your heart. If this story touched your heart, perhaps consider sharing that warmth with those around you.